All the still shots in the movie where you say, anyone who's sick of me repeating myself, you're actually sick of the film repeating itself, were to build suspense. Like in Alien, where they were to scare you. Except that in the Alien movies, there was actually an alien there waiting to attack, and it actually does attack. So the reason that this is able to build suspense is because something suspenseful is happening. Anton bumbling around some guy's house and then cutting to a completely unrelated scene isn't suspenseful. It's deflating because the scene doesn't lead up to anything. It just moves on. We do not need to watch this. Yes, if you only show what's important, movies like Blade Runner, Alien, and No Country for Old Men would be much shorter, but the experience would be different. Again, the majority of scenes in Blade Runner and Alien are important because they lead up to something important. Showing us that Llewellyn got a shirt and a beer or that Jones put a tarp down only shows us that Llewellyn got a shirt and a beer and that Jones put a tarp down. They don't lead up to anything other than that. We do not need to watch this. And when you say they don't connect to a story, they do. It's simple. But it's a thriller. And besides, if they didn't have a story or characters, shouldn't it be just like 2001 and not be bad, just not qualify as a film? No, because the film is trying to pretend that it does have characters, but that they're just subtle. They aren't. They're non-existent. Even if that were the case with 2001, that can at least be enjoyed on a level of special effects. No Country for Old Men has no redeeming quality whatsoever, not even on a superficial level. Matthew, why do you seem to take your movie reviews so personal with the ones you hate? Like what you just did with No Country for Old Men, and what you're about to do to the book it was based on. Basically, what did the film do to you? Well, aside from taking my money and my time, nothing. But if somebody stole your wallet or locked you in a room for 5 hours with nothing to do, you'd probably be pretty pissed off too. But No Country for Old Men did more than just be a bad movie for me. It insulted my basic intelligence. Don't try to pass off this bullshit and think that I'm gonna praise you up and down. Stop trying to sell me some magic fucking beans. I'm not a moron. I'm not falling for this. Fuck you. Not you, obviously, the people who made the movie. I mean, what are you trying to do? Attack the people who say the shit is great when it isn't? Well, considering I just made a statement that implied that anyone who thinks it's great is a moron, I can see how people might take it that way. But no. Plenty of people have expressed their reasons why they think No Country for Old Men is great, regardless of how people who didn't like the film will feel about that opinion. It therefore should be perfectly acceptable for me to express my reasons why I think it's an abortion, regardless of how they may feel about that opinion. Calling No Country for Old Men the worst movie ever made is not accurate. Okay, hang on. First off, there is never anything accurate in anyone calling something the best or worst anything. There's no official gauge for art. There are, however, standards in art. And the reason I believe No Country for Old Men is the worst movie ever made is because I believe it lacks or falls below those standards more than any film I've seen. Your argument suggests that this film has the worst script ever made, but not the worst movie ever made. A movie is more than a script. There is cinematography, editing, acting, direction, music, etc. Your Purple Monkey Dishwasher lacked all of these elements. Yeah, but that's good, right? I mean, it's minimalism. No Country for Old Men didn't have any music either, or characters, or a story, yet it was well praised. My movie had less elements that make things qualify as films than that, so my movie should be way better, right? See, you missed the point. You're actually right to say that my movie lacked many elements that make up a film. Therefore, it should be considered less of a film than films that do have those elements. So, why is it not okay for me to say the same of No Country for Old Men? All of these components add up to style. Sure, you could cry out style over substance, but what No Country for Old Men does is weaves minimalistic plot with a deep breadth of style to create a strong cinematic feeling and tone. Just as you call 2001 one big special effects reel, which you gave it credit for, No Country for Old Men carries the same high-grade level of filmmaking craftsmanship. I'm sorry, but bullshit. All of the minimalist elements that make up my movie add up to style too. So what? Fuck style. Write something. Write something or stop wasting my time. Also, what you're telling me here is that it's not okay for me to focus just on the script and calling this movie bad, but it is okay for you to focus just on the style in calling this movie good. From another point of view, take There Will Be Blood. No, don't spoil it, I haven't reviewed that one yet, but I love that movie. Damn it, I just spoiled it myself. But in that review, I will explain how There Will Be Blood pulls off a minimalist approach well. Making statements like Back to the Future 2 was one of the worst sequels ever put to films, Minority Report is the worst movie I've ever seen, and I think No Country for Old Men is the worst film ever made, does take a lot of guts, but these statements don't really mean anything if you can't give any reasons for thinking these things. Well, first, it doesn't really take any guts to say something like that. Moreover, I don't think people should feel that they're walking a tightrope by expressing a minority view in the first place. Nothing about those statements were intended to be gutsy. It's just how I feel. Why are Minority Report and No Country for Old Men worse than, for example, Battlefield Earth? Well, let me explain. When you see a movie that has no good qualities, you start looking for things that can at least entertain you while you endure the experience of watching them. Special effects can service this goal if need be, which is why 2001 was not the worst movie I had ever seen in my life. With regard to Battlefield Earth, you at least have this.
While you were still learning to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
That was unintentionally hilarious, but I can at least laugh at that. There isn't one single positive, objective, subjective, or unintentional quality to No Country for Old Men. I can't even give it a superficial compliment. It's just a big pile of shit. Taking a minimalistic approach in films is like making a souffle. It's fucking hard to get right. But it bothers me when filmmakers think that minimalism means just doing less. The problem here is that modernist mindset that No Country for Old Men is like life. Not every action in real life matters. Sometimes you do just get a beer or put a tarp down. That's true, but the problem is, this isn't life. It's a movie, and not everything in real life is going to translate well to a page.
I think I can sum up the show for you with one word. Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What does that mean?
The show is about nothing. But nothing happens on the show. You see, it's just like life. You know, you eat, you go shopping, you read, you eat, you read, you go shopping.
You read? You read on the show? All right, tell me about the stories. What kind of stories?
Oh, no stories.
No stories? So what is it?
What did you do today?
I got up and came to work.
There's a show, that's a show.
How is that a show?
Well, maybe something happens to you on the way to work.
No, nothing happens.
Well, something happens.
Well, why am I watching it?
Because it's on TV.
Not yet.